Hello and welcome to this 45-minute talk about harnessing the power of light for healing. This is about how to release physical pain and emotional pain that might cause it, and it's about blending energy medicine and light and quantum biology. So I want to begin by grounding our field. What does that mean to ground the field? It means to bring yourself into your center and your surroundings. So take a deep breath and just arrive. Arrive here right now. And let everything you've been holding soften just for a moment. And let your body know this as well. Let it know that it's safe to just let go. And just let it go. Just allow it to be. And bring yourself into this very moment. Because today we're going to look at pain differently. Not as something to fix. Not as something to fight. But as something to listen to. And to decode it. This is about releasing, using the intelligence of light and frequency and energy. And you know something? You've already begun this already. By just being here. You've been called into this. So I want to start with the hidden roots of pain. We're in a world right now where many are seeking a quick fix. But true healing, in my opinion, begins with awakening to the energy within. Pain doesn't just live in your body. It lives in your energy field. And it's created from the stress that we carry and the emotions that have been pushed down. And these patterns that have been running the show for many, many years, sometimes without our awareness. What's interesting is when I open up somebody's energy, I can see these patterns in the soul's matrix. And they look very interesting, but they look very different than the rest of the energy that is surrounding your whole being. So everyone is having some crisis in life. But it is a question of whether it's a crisis or it's an opportunity to look at what needs to change. You know, we talk about midlife crisis, right? It's something that supposedly we come into in the middle part of our life, in the 30s or such. But I really think of it as an opportunity because it's a call to... It's like this, like you go along in life and then you begin to wake up. And there are many waking up now, more and more, deeper and deeper into that awakened awareness. And as we wake up, we say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? All the questions that come up about it, which are very good to be asking ourselves. I often get clients in my practice that actually say they've tried everything or almost everything. You know, they've worked in massages and medications and meditations and even emotional types of healing, energy work, all kinds of things. And still they feel like nothing fully works for them. Even clients that are suicidal. And that's because most methods address a lot of the more surface areas. But pain originates in the deeper and outer layers. It's what I call the soul's matrix. And this is where energy healing meets quantum biology. Now, when I say the soul's matrix, this, I mean, encompasses all of your fields, your personal fields of your own soul. and where coded energy becomes medicine, and where coherence is the cure. So here's an example. A man, many years ago, I never even met him. He was guided to me through a referral. He called me on the phone because back in that time we had no Zoom. And this is some years ago. And he was suicidally depressed to the point that he would take his gun to bed every night with him. But he had 2 dogs, and they were what was holding him back from pulling the trigger every single day. So I asked him when he called me, do you really want to leave, or do you just want to get out of your pain? And he said to me, he just wanted to get out of his pain. That was important, that question and that answer, because that directed me where to go with all of this. All of this is a communication to us. Symptoms of any kind, whether they be, physical or emotional or mental, they're all communicating, telling something. Even though it's not a communication that you may understand, whether it be English or whatever language that you speak, it's the language of the physical body and of your mental, emotional state. And it's our responsibility to find out what it's conveying. This man found me. Everything in his world had been taken from him. He fought in the war. He lost everything. He lost everything. His wife, his house, everything that he held dear to him, except his 2 dogs. And I found something that helped him shift his perspective of how he viewed life through his emotions and his mental state. And then healing took place. So now I want to talk about the science of energy and light. Let's talk for a minute about your biofield. This is not a word that we talk about in our language all the time. In fact, if you go to the doctor, they won't even be able to tell you about your biofield. But this is something that I'm able to see, and that many that work in energy understand. And science is coming into understanding more and more about this. This is your body's electromagnetic field. Now we know we have it, it's proven. Science can measure it, it's real. And it holds the blueprint of your health, patterns that you have about you, and your potential. And quantum biology has shown us that there is light at the end of our cells which emit light, and these are biophotons. So hold this word close to you, because you will be hearing more about this. And our DNA creates our energy field and acts like energy light antenna. It's like an antenna of light that receives and transmits information and communicates with the rest of your systems and all of your soul's matrix, and then beyond your matrix into the greater consciousness and the web. So when something feels off physically or emotionally, it often starts with a disruption in the energy, in your energy field. Even accidents that are sudden or sudden mishaps, they're due to something happening in the field. So here's something, and I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes, but here's something that you may not even realize. I've heard from people say that they have really been bothered about something, and then a month later something occurs, and when you put that point of 1 and then plus 1 together, it equals 2. A month ago they were thinking or feeling something, and then suddenly something occurs and it creates a reaction. Because it's a disturbance or a distortion in the field and it's imprinted there, and it also depends on how much energy is behind it, but there it's imprinted and it holds within your system and a happening occurs. So that's where I work, using modalities like in homeopathy, microgenetic blueprint healing, past life and between lives and the Akashic field, soul regressions, interdimensional codes, light language. It all is energy based. All of it works in the energy fields. And it works in the subtle energies that take place in these fields that cannot be detected by equipment. In scalar and quantum, it's coded frequency transmissions, their sacred geometry, it's light and visualization, it's biofield tuning, and emotional repatterning. And this brings your system back to coherence. It's the catalyst that creates the reaction. And in the reaction, oftentimes people don't even know because it can be subtle. And over a period of time, we're not really watching it moment by moment. So as it's shifting, it becomes more subtle and we move into more of who we are, more without the distortion. And over a period of time, we say, sometimes we didn't even know we had that or we had forgotten about it. So this coherence, which is when your energy and your biology and your truth are in harmony. And when coherence returns, pain starts to leave. It's not like, yes, pain has an intellectual understanding or an intelligence, I'll say, not intellectual, but an intelligence. But it only takes a cue from you. So when you're shifting inside, the pain leaves. And some transformations I've witnessed in clients through this work, quite often, it's a release of chronic pain, transcended ancestral traumas sometimes. Remembered, forgotten soul gifts happen as you become more in alignment with yourself and reconnected with your spiritual purpose then. So many experience a lightness. Now that's most all the time, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Clarity, it just becomes more clear to them who they are, why they're here, what they're doing in their life. Answers that are decisions to questions they've had, or perplexities, or even spontaneous downloads I've seen from guidance after sessions. So one of the most beautiful things I get to watch is someone remembering who they really are. It's we talk about it remembering, but it's like then we've never left, like it's something that moved off of us or away from us, this energy that was blocking us from just our real self. And feeling their entire field shift in response. When they would have gone left, now they go right. It's an interesting to watch becoming coherent. So let's talk about the root of pain. And the root of pain is like a new map for healing. But let's get clear on what and why pain happens. So we've talked a little bit about that. But let's talk further about it. In my years of working with thousands of clients globally, I have found that pain, especially chronic, or sometimes there's mysterious pain. We can't figure out where it's coming from. But usually it has 3 key roots to it. The first is emotional residue. This is unprocessed emotions becoming energetic congestion. Remember, I talked about seeing the soul's matrix, and when I look at them, the soul's matrix, and I look at the distortions, or what I'll call, this unprocessed areas, they look like wormholes to me. And opening them up, I begin to understand what's going on for the person and why it is a distortion or why it's unprocessed. Grief that's stored in the body can be held in the pelvic region and in the chest. Oftentimes, cancer of the breast or cancer of the, we'll say, male and female area of the body can be grief that's been held in that system. Anger gets stored in the liver, and fear takes residence in the gut and in the kidneys, especially the kidneys, in the joints, and on. I could go through the whole body. Cancer is a chaos in life that's gone out of control when someone doesn't have control, or they have been controlled too long. The joints and muscles, when they have difficulty moving or inflammation, can be a feeling of lack of mobility. They can't move within their situation, or they have fear about moving in their situation, or other aspects of it. Let's look at the throat for a minute. There you have your thyroid there, you have your throat, your tonsils, your mouth is included in this area of the body. And it's something that's held in, something that it's about your will, what you want to say, but you're not feeling capable of saying, and it's held in. We don't just remember pain. It's an imprint in our energy field, often. And if it comes from another timeline, it's really held there because we may not have a working knowledge of it at all. And then it gets stored in the body as well. I don't know, countless people I have listened to that I've done regressions, either past life or between lives, soul regression, where they've had another time where there was some kind of an accident. Let's just say we'll go back to a time, where maybe they got hit with an arrow or a bullet, or they fell, or they got dropped out of an airplane or something like that, and the body's still holding. They come into this timeline on Earth right now, current time, and they have a mark on their body there, or they have pain there, or they know there's some kind of energy being held there. Remember, we're an antenna, and the field tunes into what is communicating. So even when people think they've cleared away a lot, and I hear this a lot, and then why is it showing up again is the question. Because it didn't all clear, it's still held, it's imprinted. Okay, it's like a barcode when you go to the grocery store and you're scanning the barcode on your groceries, right? It's being able to read that energy. So when I look in a person's field, I see these blocks, these stagnant energies, and again, they look like wormholes to me. And I open them up, and I can see the specific happening that's stored there. So I open it, bring it up, we clear it, but it takes an understanding of it as well. It's not just about clearing it, but it's about understanding it from another perspective. That's what occurs. And so then, when there's no more energy left to it, it's disengaged. And it's about disengaging the energies that we need to learn from and then be finished with. So energetic imprinting is the second key to pain. We carry layers of inherited and environmental energy encoded in our field, from childhood patterns ancestral wounds, carried down through lifetimes. Oh, my grandmother was this, and then my mother was this, and then, you learn from that, and so it becomes part of your world. Collective trauma or individual traumas. I mean, we're going through this in our world right now. We've been carrying collective traumas for, thousands of years now. Or possibly it can just be absorbed stress from other people or your own stresses. So this is our energetic imprinting. And quantum biology confirms that our body communicates by way of light and frequency. Not just chemicals, not just the chemistry in our system, but by light and frequency. And your biofield, it is not passive. It's a living interface. And it holds everything you have not resolved yet. So here's an example. I work with a quantum biologist, Dr. Glenn Ryan, and we work in scientific research of subtle energies and their effects through electrical conductivity on DNA and water, which has now been quantified, which means it's been proven. And in order to prove it, you must do test after test and come up with the same results. So transmitting light was one of my experiments that we did. And we just took regular tap water into a little tiny vial. You don't need much, just a little sample of tap water. So we know tap water is 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, H2O. And when I'm doing this, I could see I'm calling in the light, and the light begins to stream. It's like a tube that's coming in, and it streams literally into the tap water. And I could see the molecules begin to change. And as they changed, I could see the actual structure of H2O, and then it began to expand. The molecular compound was changing and expanding, and it expanded itself to H3O2, which with a hexagonal structure is structured water. So I asked the light why, and the light responded, in order so that it will hold more light. Simple but extremely profound. I wasn't thinking that, and I always come with a curious mind, because I don't pretend to even think I would know why or understand it at the level of the light's communication until I'm told from the light. We're capable of asking and transmitting. We're very powerful, each and every person, more than we all think. This is not just about me. We are all capable of doing this. And again, I'm going to just say here or mention here that it is because we are antenna. What we're putting out, what we're bringing in, all imprints. And so it's there. It's there. And now it's communicating. And the light was delivering what I wanted, what I was asking for through my desire. And it imprinted in the energy field, and it transmitted, and it was received. Energy doesn't care. It doesn't have an opinion about whether it's good or bad or indifferent. It's just, it just is. It just exists. And it responds. And that's what we have to remember, that it responds. It just is. So now I'm working on bringing encoded light into the household, into resources, so that the environment will shift and hold higher frequencies, which then will affect you, and you will affect it, and you can grow in your own capacity. And through my research with the scientist, I find that we must engage with energy. We must talk, we must engage We must tell it what we want. Okay, now we're going to come into the third key, and that's misalignment. And it may be the most overlooked, actually, and maybe it's the most transformative as well for a source of pain. But misalignment happens when your life moves out of sync with these 5 different areas: your truth, your needs, your boundaries, your purpose, and your natural rhythm. Now, if you stop and consider each one of those, what is your truth? Do you know what it is? If you don't, it behooves you to find out or to get clear about what your truth is. I think most people do know. Even when you say, I don't know, you do know. Just push the I don't know aside and just give yourself permission to say within, I do know. What is that? What is my truth? You know it in situations or relationships, or your truth, let's say, yeah, no, I don't really like a beer once in a while. But truthfully, you really do like a beer once in a while. Or, yeah, you know what, I can do without that chocolate. But really, you really like to have a piece of chocolate. So maybe that's your truth. Okay, so that's your truth for today. What are your needs? Everybody has needs, so know what they are. You know when you need something. If you need an ear to listen when you are upset, then that's one of your needs. Be clear about your boundaries. So many are not clear about their boundaries of what they'll allow and what they won't allow. And they'll push and push and push that boundary away until it just becomes where it is no more, and people will step on our boundaries. So be clear, define your boundary. Purpose. Many people not knowing what their purpose is, or that it's changing and now they don't know. So getting clear about purpose. And then what's your natural rhythm? How you flow, how you maneuver, how you navigate in your world. Are you a late sleeper and a late night staying up late at night? Or do you need to go to bed early at night and you're an early riser? This is your natural flow, okay? If you eat breakfast at 6 in the morning, or can you not eat breakfast till, say, 9:30? This is your natural flow. So being clear about what that is and living in that, being in sync with all of it. So when you think, feel, believe, when this is not in sync with each other, this is misalignment, and very important to get in alignment. When you're living for approval and not authenticity. All 5 of those are about authenticity. The energetic dissonance creates tension, inflammation, and eventually pain, not just physical, but on all other levels. And your high self, it knows who you are. It has been you since your beginning, but it remains in spirit form and is connected to all of consciousness and is a receiver and transmitter as well with you, in connection to you. And it is working to guide you for what your soul desires. And when you're not in alignment, pain happens. Your body becomes the loudspeaker for what the soul is whispering. But here's the breakthrough, and this is a key. When you return to alignment, healing begins, because your biology recognizes your personal truth. Everything lines up. Now, I want to talk about where the science meets the soul. This is a question, because a lot of people don't even think about this. They separate it. Your DNA emits light. We know it. It's a fact. Science has proven it. And actually, jellyfish bioluminesce. And we as well emit light and are able, and the jellyfish, okay, sorry, I'm goofing this up a little. Jellyfish bioluminesce, and they are able to self-repair and regenerate. And there are other creatures, let's say like snakes, they also self-repair. And there are parts of you that self-repair as well. But what if all of you could self-repair? This requires being in certain frequencies and aligning with the frequencies so that you can repair. Your biofield responds to your thoughts, your choices, and your environment. Again, lining up or aligning. And your pain is feedback. It's not failure like so many people think. It's just feedback. I began my practice 30 some odd years ago. And it was due to my own and my family's health trauma. We had toxic water on the land we built our house, and I became very sick. All of us were not where we were not in alignment. We became ill. And I lost a good portion of my memory. And the doctors thought I had Lyme disease. And I did everything that I could in what my working knowledge was. And the doctors did too, but couldn't find the answer. And then I turned to holistic medicine. That's mind and body energy medicine. That treats the whole person, doesn't separate, but treats everything as you are one. It makes up you. And at that time, I made a pact with God that when healing began, or my healing began, and I came more into my capabilities at this time then, and I became more aligned, I learned what true healing was. And then I wanted to help other people. And at that time, and I still do feel this way, I have no time for less than anything that's going to give me the greatest quality of what I'm looking for. And I want to work in the best modalities. So now I want to talk about why the mindset isn't enough. So if you've tried mindset tools, let's say affirmations or thinking positive, and this is all well and good. We should be doing positive. We should be thinking positive. This is not what I'm saying. But if you've been doing this, it reminds me of like after the movie The Secret, when people would put out their hand and say, I wish I had $1 million. I want $1 million. And they would really hope for $1 million to come in their hand. We were being very specific back at the time because we really didn't understand about energy back in that time. But if you've been doing, these mindset tools and it hasn't worked, it's not because you're doing this wrong. We have distorted ways of thinking, although we don't realize it. Quite often, there's a lot of distortion in our way of thinking. And it's because mindset is conscious and pain often lives in the unconscious, emotional, and energetic systems. And it gets louder and worse if we don't deal with it. We have to go deeper. And the modalities I choose to work with, it combines energy medicine, frequency transmission, nervous system repair, and coherence, emerging science of quantum biology, because that's where it's at. That's where it really changes. And it has the capacity to change everything from that point out. Because, your body doesn't speak English, right? I said this before. It speaks vibration. It speaks light. It speaks energy. It speaks truth. That's the language. So now, let's talk about tools for integration. I want to give you a few tools you can take with you to think about to begin working with pain differently, to be in connection and communication with it. So here's the first thing. Ask the pain what it's holding. Don't just treat it, talk to it. It's a part of you wanting to share. It's just not speaking, or you're not speaking the same language. And if you can't or have difficulty, because I don't want to use the word can't, but if you're challenged by asking the pain and not hearing back, as some are, get a pen and paper, put it in your left hand, and start writing and ask the question. Ask the question, ask the pain, what is it holding? That's the first question. And just allow the pen to write. You'll eventually hear the answer. And it will maybe quite surprise you. Okay, the second. Scan your own self for misalignment. So when you run through your whole body, just close your eyes, start at the top of your head, and look at your whole body, like you're scanning, okay? Look at your body and look where you stop, or where it seems to be highlighted, or some type of a different from the rest of the body. Where are you overriding your truth? 3, here's the third one. Use light as medicine. Like I've talked before in this, call the light in, call it, ask it for its help. Imagine, because imagination is just conscious imagination. That's all it is. It does not mean that, it's just pretend. It's not real, because it's as real as anything else. It just works in a different way, but it imprints as well. So imagine healing light flowing to the area of pain. You don't want to force change. You just want to restore coherence. So ask the light very simply. Call it in and say, I want to restore coherence through the light, through this energy. And keep repeating it like it's a mantra over and over in the area where the pain is. Here's another. The fourth, clear energetic imprinting. Ask, is this even mine? Or am I carrying it from somewhere? That question alone can start a release or a different way to look at yourself. Maybe it's not yours. Maybe it's somebody else's. Maybe your mother or your father was carrying something and it's been passed down. It could be ancestral. Who knows? But ask it. You won't know until you ask. And then again, if you're challenged by hearing an answer, get out that automatic writing. I think it does wonders. Or maybe a pendulum if you're a pendulum person. And then the fifth, restore rhythm. Here's the thing. Pain thrives in chaos, and healing thrives in coherence. So know this. You are not broken. You are remembering. We're now in a key time to come home to who we really are. So now, I just want to kind of wind things up with some thoughts here. Healing isn't about repairing what's broken. It's about revealing the wholeness that's always been there. You are a magnificent soul because you are the light. This is just about you finding out you and clearing what is distorted. Your body, your energy field, your soul carry deep intelligence and memory. And so trust what it's trying to convey to you, even if it's been a very long time. You were never meant to live in pain. Many people think it's, why am I being punished? but you're not. It's not a punishment. It's a messenger. And your body is not betraying you. And neither is God. Many people blame God, blame other people. This is not a blame game. Blame does not enter in. Oh, I was in an accident and it was the other car's fault. Well, we give away our power when we blame. We need to be spiritually responsible, healthfully responsible, soulfully responsible. Who we are. So call it back in and say, okay, it's teaching me something. What do I need to learn here? Okay, what you need to learn is it's inviting you back to you, to your wholeness. How do I do that? What does that take? It takes you uncovering the parts of you that are not in alignment. And when you harness the power of light and these higher energy frequencies, you actually liberate yourself from pain, and you begin to view life from another perspective, another way of looking at things. This I have seen throughout my entire career of work, where the shift happens. I love that shift happens. And real honest to goodness healing that holds will take place in subtle ways within you. You recalibrate. And what recalibrating is that you've just drifted off course from who you are, from your alignment, and you're in need of a fresh perspective. I love that word. That word was given to me some time ago. And one day I just heard recalibrate. They were telling me this is the word to focus on. This is it, to remember. We've just moved off our mark and our alignment, and we need a fresh perspective to view. Feel more powerful and more of your truth, and reawaken to the intelligence of your energy field. This is what the light, this is what the energy does for us. So, well, I just want to thank you for just, listening to this and walking this journey with me at this moment. If you want to get in touch and receive, you know where to find me, because you received this from my website. And there's a handout there, and you'll see it in the store, and it's free. The 3 Roots of Pain. It's my gift to you, and it's a great guide to help you pay attention and how to focus on coming back into alignment. Well, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you many, many blessings for healing and happiness.